everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Dr. Gail Walter, and we have the privilege of speaking with Meagan Hartman today. Meagan is currently a student in the BA in HHP in the Health Studies track, and she just recently completed the MCAT exam. So I asked her if she could take a few minutes to talk with us about the MCAT exam and just to kind of give you some, or give all of you a little bit of information on how to prepare for that. So Meagan, how soon did you start studying for the MCAT? Was it enough time or?
It was a long time. So I know most people do around 4 to 6 months, and I personally did 4 months. I started during winter break, which was super helpful because I wasn't taking any classes anyway. But then obviously when school started, I had to kind of readjust my schedule. But 4 months was good for me.
So what type of study strategies did you use? Did you find some that were a little bit more helpful than others?
I would say definitely set a schedule and stick to that schedule. There's days where you wake up and you don't want to study today, but you're going to get behind. And then that one day, that week catches up with you, and then you're suddenly so behind. So I'd say stick to it as much as you can. And personally, I use the Kaplan books and I love them. I know a lot of people, there's like Princeton and other tools out there, just whatever works best for you, do that. And Kaplan also offers one free MCAT exam, like practice exam on their website. Definitely utilize that and then buy some more. So you want to be able to just train your brain to sit down that long and to get the format of the exam down. That was super helpful for me.
Great. And when you took the exam, do you have any recommendations for like reading the questions or interpreting the questions? Anything that you want to share?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing when you're taking this and you're looking at the sections, know your time limit, know your questions, and be able to gauge. So before I even started my sections, I would write down 60 questions all the way down to 0. And I'd put time stamps that I had practiced and I knew where I'd need to be at to be making good time. So that's just like something little that definitely helped me a lot. And then as far as like other ways to interpret it, you're going to need to know a lot of information. So the way it's set up is you get passages and then you get questions for the passage, but sometimes the passage doesn't correlate with the answers. So for example, I had a psychology passage and it said the study is for 3 to 5-year-olds. But one of my questions was, what stages of Erickson's stages of development would they be in? So you get one small snippet of the age, but you have to have all this background knowledge of all these different development stages. So it's going to be like that for the chemical and physical section, the biology and biochemistry section, and the psychology, social, and behavioral section. But the CARS section is completely different. It's critical analysis and reasoning skills. That is 90 minutes, 9 passages, and you basically have 10 minutes per passage to read that and answer all the questions. So that was one that was really tricky for me just because it's all about comprehension, speed, and drawing inferences from the text. And it's so quick, you don't have much time to go back and relook at things over and over. But one course I took at Iowa here is actually a philosophy class called Philosophy 3906, and it was workshop analytical skills for the MCAT. I would definitely recommend people take that because the first half just breaks down the CARS section because it is so unique to the exam.
Gosh, I didn't even realize that that type of course existed. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm sure a lot of students, if they have the opportunity to, they would definitely want to take that. So were there any other courses that you feel were, I'm sure all of them were, but
Yeah.
any that were really beneficial for you to take the exam?
Yeah. So I talked about how like the social determinants course with you, I've talked about how awesome that was in the social behavioral section. And then the human disease course I took it with Sean Flanagan. That helped me with the biology section a lot. And then human development through the lifespan was excellent for psychology refreshers and just like stages of development in general. And then human growth and motor development was great for biology. especially embryology, because we broke that down so hard for our first exam. So when it came time for review, I felt like I could just breeze past all that material. And then I took another obesity course, which was all about causes, consequences, prevention, and treatment. And it was super interesting. And it also tied in with our social determinants because it's all about the environmental impacts and how
Mhm.
social determinants affect people. Yeah.
Great. um, so, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but any other things that you really think it's important that you want to share with some students who are, considering taking this exam, or they could possibly already be studying for this exam? Just any words of wisdom that you want to share?
I would definitely say my first advice is you can do it. I feel like you don't get to hear that a lot as a student just because our courses are so rigorous as pre-meds. But studying for me was actually kind of enjoyable because I reflected on how many things I had learned over my 4 years. So when you're first learning it, you're kind of struggling. It's not really fun all the time. But as I was looking back, I was like, wow, I have really learned so much material. And it felt great just to like know that I had done so much and it was going to pay off, hopefully. And it will. Iowa's courses will definitely prepare you for this exam. And then I would say just have a good mindset.
Hmm.
So for a while, I did kind of dread it and I didn't want to do it. But then I totally flipped it around and I was like, I'm just excited because look at all this stuff I've learned and now I can actually show it in a score. And I'm just excited to like have that sense of accomplishment that I did it. Like this is a big exam. I wanted to walk out and I wanted to feel good about it and not feel like totally defeated by it. So I called my mom after and I was like, I did it. I can't believe I did that for 7.5 hours. Like that is a long time to be doing that.
The
So
exam is 7.5 hours long.
yeah, so you
Oh
get
my
a
goodness.
30-minute lunch and 10-minute breaks, a couple of them, and it's all testing. So it's a long time.
So to sit that long, as far as like sleep and maybe nutrition, I mean, that is a long time. So what did you do like a few days before it as far as getting a good night's sleep and making sure that you fueled you fueled your brain with the right foods and things like that? Did you find anything helpful?
Yeah, the few days leading up to it, I did not study. I said, you know what, I've learned all I can. I've done my very best. I just kind of gave myself that ego boost. I looked at all the books and I was like, look at all the stuff you've gone over. So it was more just like a confidence building at that point and getting my
Mhm.
mindset right before I went in. So there's no studying right up to the exam. Do not do that to yourself the day before. You're going to be so stressed out. I would just say go in and do your best. Don't put that pressure on yourself that I need to get blank score to get into blank school. Don't do that. Go in and do your best. You'll be fine.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. And I'm sure the students very much appreciate your words of wisdom regarding the MCAT.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.